everyone, welcome to BrickVault. My name is Jack, and today we are building up our Lego Cities beach shoreline area. That is the base plates that are blue and the base plates that are tan to represent the ocean and the sand. The really harsh right angles and stuff, straight lines and corners and things like that, we're gonna make it look like a real beach using a bunch of different, mostly plate pieces. First, we're gonna show you the main bit of building for that, and then I'm gonna go a bit more in depth on exactly the parts that we used and how we put it all together. So anyways, let's get started. Alright, so here we have the shoreline, what it is so far at least. This was built by my brother and his wife. It was their design, and it's a pretty simple setup. I'm going to show you just kind of close up basically the layering system that we have that shows the conjoining lines between what normally is a very, very straight lined base plate piece with another tan base plate piece, and then we've got this bit of curved edges that kind of make up a rough and rigid shoreline. So you can see that it kind of straightens out a little bit and comes in and straightens out and then it comes in, and it makes for a kind of fun organic looking beach line. But of course this is coming in because we've got a lot of either 32 by 32s and then 16 by 32 base plates kind of coming in at very harsh corners, and we had to create something that looked normal, natural, and hopefully it looks pretty good. This is probably the best case scenario of being able to kind of see what we're looking at. This is the base plate here, this is the bottom plate for the ocean, this is the base plate here for the sand, and then we had to build up the water on one side and build up the sand on one side in order to have a kind of flush and relatively even sort of mode between water and sand. So the basic layers go like this. Most of what you're looking at here are 2x4s, and then there's some 2x2s and stuff for at least the ocean. And then the break line is all 1x2s or maybe 1x4s. I'm not entirely sure. I didn't build this part, but it goes blue and then white, obviously for the white water, the breaking water, with clear cheese wedge pieces to show even more white water and kind of frothing and stuff like that where the waves are breaking. And then before we get to the actual tan sand, we've got the dark tan, which is of course to represent the wet sand. It's almost totally flush in. It's probably could use some extra detailing or maybe an extra layer a little bit further in of wet sand. But right now, at least the idea of water, wet sand, and then dry sand is all the way through. And then it hits a layer of still dry sand, but then eventually recedes one plate level down onto the actual base plate. So it's built up a little bit in certain areas because the sand, of course, isn't completely even all the way through. But this kind of repeats itself all the way up and down the shoreline. And I think there's one thing also, I don't know if my brother and his wife decided that this was kind of going to be the natural form of things, but as you can see, there's a little bit of white break line as it moves up into the corner there. And that's the same idea here where there's a little bit more white break line. And then there's none here, and there was none on that straightaway. And then again, on this nice curved area, more of a white break line, and then it evens out once again. So when you look further back, you can almost tell what directions the wave's coming in from the outside, right? It kind of feels like that the break line is this way, and it's kind of breaking. The waves are all coming in and crashing here, and then they're not really getting much harsh breaking on this edge or the edge where we have our creator house. So I think that was kind of a cool thing that they decided to do. I don't know if that was intentional or if they just ran out of white pieces, and I think he did say that we needed to order you know, a few more parts in order to really flesh out some areas. Obviously, you can see the shoreline hasn't totally been worked out here. This is where we're gonna have, I think, like a nice sort of slowly increasing barrier line that is eventually going to be flush with, oh yeah, we're working on a harbor. This is based on a series of old sets. You might in fact recognize this giant tanker, the cargo line tanker. This is just a placeholder for something that we really want to flesh out more in the future. Very much like in the previous time I did an update video, I told you guys, hey, we're gonna do something about this shoreline. We have an idea and a design fleshed out on how we're gonna really make sort of a flush sort of shoreline that we're gonna have for our ocean. Right, so that happened in the previous video. This is me telling you now, hey, we're gonna do something in the future with this dock and this ship. And we're gonna have some barriers and another bridge that comes across. We're gonna have other stuff and we're gonna work on this and create sort of a much more fully fleshed out scene. Maybe working with that new city set that is coming with the cargo tanker. And actually, speaking of other city sets, there is Fun at the Beach. So that set is gonna be coming out pretty soon. I am definitely gonna get one of those sets, maybe even two, and really flesh out a really fun surf line all the way along. There's lifeguards and there's just like, I think there's beach volleyball and some other cool stuff like this. But before I do that, I think I want to set up a couple more scenes. I kind of knocked this thing over. This was already sort of a scene that was set up. Somebody's about to knock in their wind wave surfer. I can't remember the name of whatever the heck this boat is. Anyways, there's a couple of scenes already sort of in progress. This is also a scene, I believe also from another creator set that came out, I think last year, a nice little sandcastle. But there is some more space, and I do think I can fill it up a little bit with maybe one or two small scenes, so I think that's what I want to do right now. Okay, so the first scene we're looking at is just a couple walking down the beach, and it looks like the guy has a stick and he was writing something in the sand. I don't know how well that effect turned out. I had sort of imagined this, I just wondered if it could work out. It's not really clear or anything like that. It doesn't really look like he's doing anything. I probably should have just made one big heart or something like that. But it's still a valid attempt, a learning experience. I think I'm gonna change that up in the future. And then this one is a little bit more simple. We just have a single pirate hanging out, and he seems to have caught a fish that he's roasting up. Pretty simple setup there. And maybe you guys can recognize I actually just stole that pre-built fire from a different set. So let me know what you think that fire piece actually came from. It's a series of smaller pieces all put together, but it's not something of my own design. I actually just found it when I was putting it together. And now there's one more thing that I would like to just add on right here at the very end. We've got ourselves a photographer. This was something I was just messing around today. He's got a photographer right there, and he could be taking a picture of, boom. I made a floating shrine that resembles a shrine that is in Japan. Cannot remember the name of it. Somebody tell me the name of this shrine. I was looking it up. This is actually based on, also this was a modified piece that came from a Ninjago set that I was building earlier today, in fact. So anyways, I was just messing around and decided to make a nice little floating shrine. We've got it's part of the National Heritage Foundation within the Lego City. but who knows? Maybe it'll get torn down someday. I've got no idea, but I think that is gonna be it for our shore episode. I hope you guys enjoyed this little thing. It was just kind of showing us sort of building up this area. And remember, I am gonna be modifying this a lot, probably changing out some scenes and definitely adding in a lot of those really cool beach figs that are coming with that Fun at the Beach set, which is actually coming out pretty soon. So anyways, that's definitely gonna be an episode for the future at some point. And I really hope you guys enjoyed our content today. Remember, if you like what we do, you can always like or subscribe. And if you've got any ideas for some cool stuff you might want to see us do in our Lego City in the future, let us know in the comments section below. All right, so that's it again for this episode. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody, and we will see you next time at BrickVault.